in what will catapult the Adani Group to one of the two most important airport players in India and practically push GVK Group out of the airport business. GVK agreed to give control of the Mumbai airport and the Navi Mumbai airport project to Adani. This is Anirban Chowdhury from the Economic Times to talk about one of the most significant yet curious airport deals in the history of the airport sector in India. Let's talk about the deal a little bit. The Adani Group has acquired 74% stake in the consortium that runs the Mumbai airport. It's called the Mumbai International Airport Limited, or MIAL as we refer to it for the remainder of the conversation. It has also automatically acquired 74% in the Navi Mumbai airport project. In return, Adani Group will take over the debt of GVK's airport business. GVK Airport Developers, which is a subsidiary of GVK Airports, is the holding company that runs the airport business for GVK. It had rupees 3,739 crore of outstanding debt as of FY19, according to numbers from the Corporate Affairs Ministry. MIAL, on the other hand, had rupees 8,109 crore of outstanding debt, according to the same figures from the Corporate Affairs Ministry. It's not very clear whether the Adani Group will also take over MIAL's debt, but it will put in additional funds into MIAL as well as help the Navi Mumbai airport project achieve financial closure, which has been pending for a while now. It's been pending obviously because GVK, which is cash constrained and in highly leverage, couldn't put in its part of the equity which is necessary for the financial closure. So what does it mean for Adani? Adani, please remember, has already 6 privatized airports in its kitty. They are Lucknow, Ahmedabad, Mangalore, Thiruvananthapuram, Guwahati and Jaipur. It has signed concession agreements for the first 3 and received cabinet approval for the remainder. In fact, it is roping in Munich airports to operate and manage the first 3. So these 6 airports plus Mumbai make it an incredibly major airport player, because Mumbai is the second busiest airport in India. It's the financial capital. It's an extremely tricky airport to manage, but it's one of the 2 most important airports in India. It's an international gateway, etc., etc. The 6 airports together handled a total of 75 million domestic and international passengers in FY20. In that, Adani is just a little behind GMR, which operates Delhi Airport, which is India's busiest, and Hyderabad Airport. Those 2 combined handled 85 million passengers in FY20. So it's just a little behind, but there's no denying that Adani is now an extremely important player in the airports business. The deal is surprising because the deal has been happening. The final talks have been going on for just over 2 weeks. But Adani's efforts have been on for the last more than a year, and GVK has been thwarting these efforts to the extent of getting into extremely complex legal wrangles. There's a little bit of background to it. So in the beginning of 2019, the Adani Group approached GVK's South African partners, Bidvest and AXA, which together own 23.5% in MIAL. Adani approached them to buy out their entire stake. Now, GVK had a right of first refusal, and it used that and said that it would instead buy that stake. Now, what has happened? So there were a lot of legal wrangles because of it. Bidvest and AXA both approached courts. Adani asked for an injunction. GVK also approached the courts. It's been ongoing. In fact, some of the cases are still on. I mean, there's been no complete resolution or judgment in any of the cases. Meanwhile, in October 2019, GVK also got into a binding agreement with 3 investors: National Investment Infrastructure Fund, which is an Indian sovereign fund; Abu Dhabi Investment Authority, which is a Gulf sovereign fund; and PSP Investments, which is a Canadian pension fund. The 3 agreed to acquire 79% in GVK's airport business for a total of 7,614 crore, which GVK would use to retire its huge debt, which is upwards of 10,000 crore. But then GVK got into trouble, and it was cash strapped, and there was a sudden CBI probe that happened against the founders for money laundering worth rupees 705 crore. That happened, and of course, the last nail in the coffin was COVID, which battered businesses across the world and in India, especially in aviation. Airport revenues were hit, and the airport segment is the biggest money spinner for GVK. So GVK basically found itself, pushed against the wall, and it had no other way but to agree to the deal with Adani. So the deal with Adani now makes the other deal with NIF, ADIA, and PSP basically null and void. And if you look at the deal, Adani is just taking over the debt, which will be converted to 50.5% equity that GVK owns in MEAL. So that means GVK's equity is absolutely given almost no value by the Adani Group. It's just taking over debt and its conversion to equity. So GVK will find itself with no money, but it'll also find itself without any debt. As for Adani, this is also surprising because Adani's as yet have no practical experience in running airports in the country. The three airports that it got, Ahmedabad, Lucknow, and Bangalore, it actually appealed to the Airports Authority of India, which is the state-run airport operator in the country. It appealed to AAI to give it more time to take over the airports because its business was affected by COVID. And now it has got Munich airports to run those three airports. So the credentials and the capabilities of Adani is still not proven, and it has got a huge task ahead of itself to prove itself and to manage these airports. And post-COVID, it'll take some time for demand for air traffic demand, etc., to come back to normal, and it can't be a very lucrative business for Adani, at least in the short term. So it remains to be seen how Adani will tackle all this. But for sure, the face of the airport sector in India has completely changed for good.